I was going to tell you guys my ghost story.
Hey you, did you know he's coming back?
This happened just a couple of years ago. We were going camping at this archaeological site in New Mexico. I can't tell you where because it's like a private place, and we were working with some archaeological people because my family's gotten into it, and so we went up there and camped for like a week. Anyway, it's a really neat place because it's got the remains or the remnants of these this little Indian village basically, and the way it was laid out is like in a perfect square, and it had all these small buildings with, you know, like a one-room building, and apparently they came out and got on top of their little buildings, and they made the walls out of rock, and they were kind of short people. They were like, you know, I think their average height was between 4 and 5 feet. So we're out there doing excavation on one room, and worked all week, and basically I was just along for the ride. I had a good time, and every night though, when me and the kids would go to bed, we were in our motorhome. Every night we'd go to bed. As soon as we would lay down and turn all the lights off, something would hit the bottom of the motorhome, and it was like straight up on the frame or the chassis of it. And I kept thinking, well, maybe that's just a rock or something underneath because it's pretty rocky up there that broke. But it happened every night, 10 minutes almost to the T after we went to bed. So I started thinking something's going on, and I knew there was probably something out there. I could just feel it, but I mean, what do you expect from having, you know, remains and all kinds of things that could be laying out there? And it was a site of they think something happened there where all the people got killed for some reason. And so anyway, every night, bam! I mean, just as hard as it, and you could feel it. It was just so hard. And I started realizing, you know, I mean, we're kind of camped on top of probably some of the remains there. And honestly, I never even, you know, thought anything of it because, you know, I have the Lord with me, so I just don't, that stuff doesn't usually bother me. I never really felt like I was in any kind of danger, but I could tell there was, you know, some baggage out there, I guess is the way to explain it. And I guess these cows don't care about me now. They're gonna eat. Anyway, see, I'll show you. They're out there eating because I just opened this field up, and I plowed this to make sure they didn't get too much of the Johnson grass. Mainly the calves. The older cows know better, but anyway, so every night that would happen, I would go out and I would try to see what was going on. And the next day, even in the morning, in the evening, when it would warm up a little bit, nothing, it would never happen. So it was always at night when we went to bed. So I knew something was going on, and something didn't want us there. That was, it wasn't too scary, but then the year after that, we went into this guy's place. The guy that owned it, the owner, he had like buildings that he built, like big metal buildings, and, you know, he would store all this, you know, artifacts and stuff in there. And we were going around checking out the place. Basically, the guy that took us on the trip was telling me that the owner had seen some things, had seen like something like an Indian or something out there on his front porch and different things like that, and he knew there was something out there. So, and this was like after all this stuff happened. I didn't know anything about that. So anyway, we got an opportunity. We're going to go out there again. And I had told one of my friends about it. My friend's name was Steve, and I told Steve, I said, yeah, I was out here plowing. Actually, I was doing something out here in this field, and we were going to leave the next day. Everything was packed up. Everything was good to go. For some reason, I was out here doing something, but we were packed up and ready to go on Saturday to go up there. And just to prove the point I'm trying to make here is he knew about that story I told him, and he's like, you're going back to that place? Because it really bothered him. And I said, yeah. I said, no, it's not that big a deal. And he said, well, what if that stuff happens again? And I said, I'll just pray about it. I'll pray and get rid of that stuff. And I am not joking. The very next morning, the day we're leaving, this guy that normally takes us on there called, and he says the landowner backed out on letting us go. And there was absolutely no reason for it other than the fact that I really think there was some influence from the fact that I told my friend that if something goes on, I would pray. And prayer, the demons don't want you to pray. And that's obviously what's out there, some kind of, thing like that. They don't want you praying. There's power in prayer. The Lord tells us to pray. There are demons that you have to pray to get rid of. And I'm not a demonologist or anything like that. I pray over what God has blessed me with. I pray, over this ranch, and I ask God to bless it and watch over it and to protect it and that sort of thing. But I don't run around doing all kinds of weird things that I've seen people do, that are more ritualistic than anything. I basically just believe that the Lord will honor your prayer. And the Bible does say the fervent prayer of a righteous man prevaileth much. And if you mean it, and you love the Lord, you're one of His children, and you have a fervent prayer, which it's typically, I know the difference. There's a prayer, and then there's a fervent prayer, and I'm sure all y'all know what I'm talking about. But whatever that thing was out there, apparently, heard through the grapevine that I would go out there and pray, and so that whole trip got canceled, and it was such a disappointment. We were ready to go, and I was looking forward to having a good time. It was fun because we camped, and it was just such a downer for everybody because there was quite a few of us going on the trip. So that's pretty much it. I mean, that was my ghost story, and the proof behind why demons don't want you to pray. God bless you all, and keep looking up, because things are getting crazy and things are falling together, and the Lord should be coming soon. If not, if He decides to tarry, He's going to watch over us. So if I don't see you in another video, then we'll see you in the air.
Coming back for those who love Him, to take them home to paradise.